Hey guys, welcome into VAAV Live. Happy Thursday. We're almost there, guys. Almost the end of the week. Day 4 of the hostage crisis, as I like to say. That's a really old and bad joke. I apologize. But once again, my name is Vincent Allen. I'm the founder and managing director of VAAV Industries. Got a little VAAV swag today. Got a little VAAV t-shirt and also my Mr. Rogers sweater inviting you to be my neighbor. Totally kidding. And another bad joke. But this week, I'd like to chat about a couple of things. We talked last week, about the need to integrate. So could we do, YouTube and Netflix and all this stuff in a feed together? And I've been working on that, actually. I've been talking to some programmers and some different things. So I've really been working on that. And that's a subject of, sort of intense interest. But one of the things, I wanted to talk about today was, as you can see behind me, I've got it blurred out so it doesn't steal your focus too much, but I've got behind me, that article we always talk about, and we're writing some more stuff and doing some more content. I'll be speaking in Vegas in July. Details to come about that, but the reason that's behind me today is because today I wanted to talk about the need for convergence, right? And I was having a conversation with the director of a development house this morning, and we see all of this stuff that we're doing in our modern work world. A lot of us still get up, roll out of bed, open the laptop, and then we're in Microsoft Teams 1 minute, we're in Slack another, Zoom, sometimes still Blue Jeans, other tools. Sometimes they're more sophisticated broadcasting tools, and we're all over the place. You've got this on this screen and this on that screen, but how do we get them to converge? Well, that's one of the things that we're working on. And at VAAV Industries, we're working on building a set of tools that will allow you to be able to do all of that in one place. Don't want to go into too much detail about exactly what we're working on just as of yet, but I wanted to talk about the need for it. Our attention is so diverted, and one of the things that people talked about during the pandemic was this idea of Zoom fatigue, right? What is Zoom fatigue? Well, I'm glad you asked. Zoom fatigue is this idea of you finish your meeting, you sign off for the day, you close the laptop, and then you are just wiped. You are just totally drained. Why does that happen? Well, let's talk about it, right? So what you've got is this screen in front of you, and some of us have 2, 3, 4 screens, and they're all throwing blue light at our eyes. And blue light, studies have shown, is actually not really great for your eyes or your brain, right? In fact, most phones now have a setting to turn blue light off for that reason. A lot of people wear the blue light blocker glasses to help protect themselves a little bit. But the point is that your brain is constantly working in overdrive because you're constantly multitasking. We're constantly having 5 and 6 conversations at once, where you're in a meeting over here and you're answering a text and you've got Slack up or Zoom or Google or whatever, and you're chatting and maintaining all of these different conversations. But here's the one that's really a killer. So I'm looking directly in the lens, and so you can see my eyes, right? You can see my eyes, right? But then I'm not looking into a webcam, but if I was, right, then I look down at the computer monitor to look at you while you're talking to me, and then I look back up, and then I look down, and then I look back up, and then I look down. My computer monitor is actually over there, so sometimes you guys will see me look, and so that it's the same kind of idea. I'm looking at you, I'm talking to you, and I'm looking at you. I'm talking to you, now I'm looking at you. And what happens is these muscles in our eyes are they're small, right? They're meant for quick response and to look at stuff, but they're not meant to do that all day long, right? Like evolutionary, in an evolutionary sense, we're not built for that. We're built to look at the tree line and see if there's an animal we're hunting or a potential enemy, or like whatever you think, go all the way back to thousands and thousands of years ago when humans were hunters and gatherers. And that's how, genetically, we're still built, right? And so when we spend all day long looking at a camera and a screen and a camera and a screen and trying to manage multiple Excel sheets in the Zoom call or whatever, you get to the end of the day and you are just devastated from an energy standpoint. I can't tell you the number of times I finish my day and I on the couch, right? So we want to fix that, right? We you know, at VAAV, we're trying to fix that. Like, we're always trying to move this industry forward, right? So what we're doing and what we want to talk about tonight is some things we can do to change that. The first thing you can do is, have you ever seen, you see these ads on Facebook and Instagram where I saw one about a year ago where some company had invented, right? Invented, right? And really what it was a plastic bar made of plexiglass that you clip to the side of your monitor, or you put on a stand and it clipped on either side. And you put your webcam on it, right? And then that thing slid up and down. Let me tell you, as an AV engineer, this is about the stupidest thing I've ever seen, right? Because now I've got this big plastic bar and my webcam in the middle of the screen. And what's the point of that? So I don't have to go up and down, right? But now I can't see what I'm doing. Now this is what you see looking at your monitor, right? Big webcam right in the middle, right? It's a little crazy, in my opinion. There was another one, it was called the Flex Cam. Same idea, but it mounted to the top of your monitor. It was a little bit line, and then a small little camera, like those old school fiber optic cameras you used to see in the old like cop movies and like whatever, where they slide the camera under the door and they're looking and see what the hostage taker is talking about, right? Same problem though. It's right in the middle of my screen. I can't see what I'm doing. So how do we solve that? Well, really what we need is the ability to have a camera and a screen in the same place, right? That's not an easy solve. I mean, you can work with a teleprompter. Lots of us work with teleprompters, but most people aren't skilled in working with teleprompters. So that's a solve. But also, we want to be able to have a situation where you look at what's all the rage right now is you got Zoom doing it, Microsoft is doing it, a few other places are doing it, where I have my chat, I have, team collaboration stuff, SharePoint, whatever it is, all in this within the same application, right? But I can only look at one thing at once. So it's like we're a third of the way there, maybe, right? Where you have everything or most everything housed. You've got your phone calls, you've got your video calls, you've got chat, you've got, potentially, file storage, all housed within a single application in one container. But it's clunky. It's not very good, right? So how do we converge this, right? Well, like I talked about in this article that's behind me, we have to find ways to take the complex broadcast tools that we're working with today that are every day we're asking someone, I get asked every day, how do I take a $100,000 broadcast or cinema camera and how do I use that for my company's Zoom, because my CEO wants to do this thing and he or she wants to use this camera, and how do we do that? Well, there are some ways to do it, right? There are definitely some technical ways to do it. If you're interested in learning how to do that, reach out to me, and I can definitely, again, run some mentoring, run some workshops, run some sessions, and show you guys the secret sauce about how to do that. But apropos of that, people are asking to do this all the time, and none of these tools, whether it's Zoom or Teams or Skype, taking it back a little further, or the stuff that's built into Facebook or YouTube, whatever, none of these tools are built for it. It's all, a matter of hammering a square peg into a round hole. Eventually, you're going to make it fit, but you're not using the right tools, right? So we've got to be able to do that, and we got to think about how we do that. The answer is networking, is complex network algorithms. You think about, RTMP, RTSP, NDI is one that everybody loves. In this same magazine, there's an article written by one of my colleagues talking about NDI and, and how it's the protocol everyone should be using. WebRTC is what Zoom is built on. And so, like, there's a lot of these things out there, but that's the answer, is it under the hood is using one or multitudinous protocols to be able to get all of our video and audio back and forth. But the problem is everyone's doing it a little differently. Zoom does it one way, and their API is available up on their website, and you can get the Python and you can start playing with it. And Teams is a little harder to work with. Cisco's stuff is a little harder to work with. They hold that stuff a little closer to the chest. So, but that's the secret sauce, is getting everything in one shot and making it intuitive to use. Because if something's intuitive to use, I'm not thinking about it, and then I'm able to go ahead and do my work and not have to be constantly processing what I need to be doing. And that's, if you've ever lived overseas, if you've ever traveled overseas or lived overseas, what you'd be familiar with is a psychological condition called cross-cultural abrasion. And what is that, right? So basically what that is, and I know this personally from having traveled extensively and having lived overseas when I was in college, is that I'm used to doing things one way as a New Yorker, as an American, as a man, whatever. Then I go over to this other place where maybe the language is different. The language may be different, but if it's not, certainly the lingua franca is different, right? Turns of phrases and things like that. Forging and developing relationships is more complex. And because it's all of your instincts, your radar is set to American, or in my specific instance, New Yorker. But I moved to another part of the world, and the turns of phrase are different. What's considered funny or acceptable interactions or professional decorum is all considered different. And then if you're in a place where they do speak a different language, everything is complicated. The roadsides are difficult. How to send something at the post office is complex. And so your brain is constantly processing, and then you end up exhausted, right? Exhausted and frustrated and a little annoyed pretty much all the time, which sounds a lot like Zoom fatigue, right? Basically what we've all been experiencing for the last couple of 3 years is we are all experiencing cross-cultural abrasion because we are immigrants to the matrix, right? Well, not if you ask Elon. I know I keep hitting Elon because he says ridiculous things. But we're all immigrants to the matrix, right? We're having to interact with a world, a computer world that's binary. It's yes or it's no. Humans live in this middle ground of maybe, right? Potentially, perhaps. And everyone's experienced this. Okay, guys, have you ever asked your wife or your girlfriend where she wants to eat? What's the answer? I don't know. And then it turns into the Notebook. It's like, what do you want? It's not that simple every time, right? That's the world that humans live in. Computers, these AIs, they don't live in that world, right? So we're experiencing cross-cultural abrasion because we're trying to interact with a computerized culture that our brains don't know how to process, really, right? And so the combination of that and just the up, down, up, down, up, down causes you to be exhausted all the time. So how do we solve for that? Well, there's a couple of things we can do. Couple of tips really quick. First thing, limit the up down as much as possible. Now, that might be challenging. You might not have the technical systems to be able to do that. There's a couple things you can do. Try to put your Zoom window as close to wherever your webcam is possible to limit the movement. But also, if you can do something that looks like a teleprompter, do it. It's so much better for your eyes. Like let me tell you, broadcasters, they're looking at teleprompters all of the time. If you want coaching in how to work with a teleprompter, hit me up. We'll set up a session. I'll teach you how to do it, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is try to have offline conversations where you can get out of your chair and actually look at someone face to face if possible. We've talked about doing virtual windows on this program before. Set up a virtual window. Again, if you want help with that, give us a call, send a comment, etc., and we'll help you out. right? So that you can actually have those side conversations that are actual conversations and not typey, right? Because that gets old too. And so you got to begin to do that. And we also have to get back to working in ways that are more intuitive, ways that where you have an idea and you just jot it down. Here's a really great example. This smart pen, we've talked about this. This is the touchscreen, right? Watch. Select a pen. I feel like circling myself. Hey, look at that. I don't like this word. Let me circle it, underline it, make a little scribble, make some notes. I can do stuff like that with the tools we have today, right? So we got to start beginning to resource our enterprises with tools that will allow us to work intuitively like that. Like honestly, the way our parents worked. Scribble stuff down on a sticky note, put it on your desk, put it on the wall next to your desk. So we're not looking at the screens 100% of the time. If we can start doing a little bit of that now, it'll go a long way in terms of our overall psychology. But to get back to the topic at hand, we've got to begin to build systems where I can do this intuitively in a Zoom, in a Teams, in, Blue Jeans is still out there, WebEx, these kinds of things. And we're working on that. I'm having conversations every week about how to build these things, how to integrate them into the enterprise, and by enterprise, I don't mean the Enterprise D on Picard that, comes out tonight. I mean our enterprise systems. I know, nerd alert, but our enterprise systems to make everyone's life a little easier, because we're right here. We're right on the cusp. Just a little bit more development, and we're going to be able to deploy not just VAAV, but everybody are going to be able to deploy these systems that are intelligent, that they're intuitive, that AI is our friend. I know that is dangerous, and we will talk about that on another show coming up soon. I've got an interview coming up soon with a great woman who I've known for years, who is brilliant when it comes to this stuff, and using AI for music and other things of that nature. But we're going to talk about that soon, about is AI really our friend or not, or is it just Skynet, and should we all be worried about our robot overlords? So we're going to talk about that soon. But as we get back to the topic at hand, we can build these systems in where AI can be our friend and can help us get a little bit of stuff done. But also how we build these conferencing solutions and collaboration, what they call UCC or unified communications and collaborations. How we can build those systems more intuitively at our companies and our small businesses, at our schools, to be able to have us work more smartly and not have everyone be so flippin' exhausted when they finish work all the time, because I know I'm not the only one, right? I mean, if anyone else feels that way, same way, chuck something in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and set up a time to talk to you about your thoughts. But at any rate, this has been VAAV Live. This week, let's try to work more intuitively, look at something that's not a screen if possible, and reach out to me with your thoughts. My name is Vincent Allen. Hit me up in the comments. We keep an eye on all that stuff. So hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what kind of features you would want to see in something like that. And as we develop these tools, we'll be able to incorporate some of your ideas. So hit me up, and as always, Hulk smash, like, and subscribe. And we'll just keep the party going. We'll just keep the conversation going. Y'all have a good rest of your night. Enjoy your night, and enjoy your weekend. This has been VAAV Live.